It's good, my people. Flash Speaks back for another video, man. I'm really searching for statements and quotes or whatever to find this Caitlin Clark hate that is just being perpetrated by WNBA players. I don't. Not talking about the fans. You know, of course, there's haters in the fan base. All players have that, especially players that receiving a lot of attention and so on. But finally, I found a video put together by a channel called BlacktopBuckets, where he actually put together a video. It is a compilation. It's called WNBA Players Hating on Caitlin Clark compilation. I found this interesting. So, finally, at least there's a person who took the care and the time, to actually try to verify what they feel. I respect that. So what I'm going to do, though, is go through this, and then we're going to determine are these things actually hate or not. All right? So let's go ahead.
The rematch between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark.
First of all, I hope that this brother here is not offended by me making this video. It's nothing personal. I'm just really trying to understand this sentiment. Because if I'm wrong, I'll actually change my opinion. I'll be the first to put out a video. Y'all need to stop hating on this girl. If I can be convinced that it's actually a real thing. So we'll see if this video convinces me.
In the NCAA tournament, drew over 12 million viewers. With this growing success of women's college basketball, WNBA players and media have started to hate on college players, in particular, Iowa's Caitlin Clark, with articles being written such as "Make Basketball Black Again" in response to her large fan base.
Okay. First thing here, his first example is media putting something out. Now, I will admit, and actually my position is that the whole hysteria is largely in part due to media. You see, sports without sports media can never be what it is. Media are the ones who take an event that takes place somewhere on a little field or in a little arena somewhere, and they make it available and visible to everybody, and they are instructed to write stories for these things. And this is what they did. The Caitlin Clark Angel Reese thing, a lot of you don't understand, is a story. These media people don't care about the 30 points she scored, 41 points she scored, whatever that Angel Reese. No, what they like is the drama and the story behind it. If you don't think that a writer is factoring in, okay, this is a white girl playing here, a famous, very good, skilled white girl, being mocked by a black girl. If you don't understand, if you don't think that in the mind of an author who's writing an article is a story that can actually get them on, can get them promoted, then you're very naive and you don't understand America, nor do you understand anything about journalism, okay?
In this video, we're going to look at WNBA players and the media.
I was going to say, I don't care about media statements. I'm looking for statements from WNBA players.
Hating on Caitlin Clark. Let's get started.
What do you think about Ice Cube and the Big Three offering Caitlin Clark $5 million to play in their league?
Well, I have a lot of thoughts. But the first one is, so you offered the contract to a player who's not yet even in the WNBA. Big Three does not happen during overseas season.
All right, so now, before she finishes here, where is the criticism levied? Ask yourself, is the criticism she's speaking levied at Caitlin Clark, or is it levied at Ice Cube? Because if it's levied at Ice Cube, that's not hating on Caitlin Clark. That's not approving of a decision that Ice Cube decided to make, right? Okay, just so we're clear.
So that doesn't make sense.
That's true.
And then for us to get just constantly shit on, you can't even acknowledge the growth and how amazing the WNBA is doing because shit like this happens.
When
you didn't even have to bring up the W. If you're gonna say that it's for that, then stand on that. But I don't think I think he's trying to make a business decision, which he's a businessman, that makes sense. But to mask it in this, I want to uplift and support WNBA players and women athletes is kind of a cop-out, I think. And I don't think it really makes any sense.
Right now, let's take your emotions and feelings out of it. Was her criticism levied at Caitlin Clark, or was it levied at Ice Cube? Because it matters and it makes a difference. That makes a difference. What did she actually say about Caitlin Clark, other than the fact that she hadn't played in the W, which is a fact? Okay? Just ask yourself that. To me, that's clear criticism of Ice Cube, not Caitlin Clark. This video is supposed to be a compilation of players hating on Caitlin Clark. But look at what he does with it, with what we just saw.
Way, we have Lexi Brown hating on Caitlin Clark's $5 million offer from Ice Cube to join the Big Three, just like we have talked about in previous videos.
Right, so he saw that as hating on Caitlin Clark. This is the type of people you're dealing with, okay?
The best doesn't always get paid the most. Caitlin Clark got that huge offer because she brings in a massive audience that no one in the WNBA could bring in. Not only is Clark a very skilled basketball player, but she's also very entertaining to watch. And that's why Ice Cube would make such a large offer.
You asked me about Caitlin. If you're going to break...
All right, so you see what was actually said, and you see the spin on it. That spent that her criticism of Ice Cube making the offer is spent as hate on Caitlin Clark. Okay? Right. Unless we don't understand what hating on someone is, I don't know. Did she say Caitlin Clark wasn't good? Did she say Caitlin Clark was trash? Did she say something about her personally? Or was she talking about Ice Cube making an offer to Caitlin Clark? Right? And then she actually acknowledges a business decision. But what he did was he clothed it in as trying to raise the women's game. But really, he knew Caitlin Clark fans watching would grow the Big Three. All right?
A record. To me, if it's legitimate, you have to break that record in the same amount of time that that player set it.
Okay.
So if Kelsey Plum set that record in 4 years, well, Caitlin should have broke that record in 4 years. But because there's a COVID year and then there's another year, you know what I mean? So she's already had an extra year to break that record. So is it truly a broken record? Yeah, that'll go on the record.
All right, now, this here may or may not like the criticism she put here. She was talking about who I think is one of the best guards, maybe the best guard I've seen WNBA, Kelsey Plum, having the record previously. And then it was broken by Caitlin Clark here. And she's stating that it was because of the COVID year that gave her extra time. Now, whether you agree or not, is this a legitimate thing or no? Is it legit or not? Right? I mean, or put it this way, is it hating on Caitlin Clark? Or is it just stating the way you feel about a basketball thing, a basketball issue? That's the question. If you consider that hate, okay. All right, so this egregious, talking about a record. To me, it just seems like an objective thing. But, you know, we're all different. So,
Books as Caitlin Clark is the all-time, whatever it is. I don't even know what the number is, but that's the way it'll be. And I don't think it should be. Let's also talk about how much more experience that gives you over other players coming in, right? So people say, dang, like he or she's killing them. But you have a 25-year-old playing against a 20-year-old. Like, you should be killing them.
Yeah.
Now Cheryl Swoops is just wrong here factually because Caitlin Clark isn't 25 years old. But that's just, you know, kind of a hyperbolic type of way of speaking, all right? She's older or whatever. Is it hate? I don't know. Maybe it is. This is the closest thing I've seen to it. Though I'm still overall not concerned about what Cheryl Swoops says because Cheryl Swoops is not a current player who can affect Caitlin Clark now. She played 25 years ago. But this is the closest thing to hate I've heard.
Because you've been doing it a lot longer than they have. Clark right now probably takes about 40 shots a game.
This is the thing people got on her about because she's not checking right. I mean, that's hyperbole. You know, if you say, I just take it as hyperbole. Nobody actually truly believes anyone takes 40 shots. She does take more shots than normal, right? There is some truth to, like, it's possible that you could have a player that's just as talented as Clark, right? But they won't score as much because they're not in the situation Clark is in. Right? Caitlin Clark is in a perfect situation where the team is built around her talent. And I mean, you have to be great for that to happen. So as a great college player, the team was built around her talent. and she has the green light from the coach. All these things are possible. We can go look at Michael Jordan, for example, who averaged, I think 18, 19 points in college. But everyone knows, he could have averaged 30 easy. But he was in a situation where Dean Smith relegated him to playing within a system where he didn't have the freedom to do that. And anyone who watches basketball, they know that. You have to have freedom along with the talent. And I think the point is Caitlin Clark had a type of freedom that allows her to score more points than others. Is that hate or is that true? Now, one could argue it's due to her talent that the coach gives her that freedom, blah, blah, blah. I think that's partly true. But also the fact that she's on Iowa's team, that's not a loaded team. So it's their best chance to win was for Caitlin to take those shots. So I don't have a problem with it.
Carry on.
I know you like that.
Yeah.
Cheryl Swoops told
Now, what he doesn't put here, but I get it, is a Caitlin Clark video, but she also said very similar things about Angel Reese. Say Angel Reese would be good because she's a rebounder, but she won't come in immediately and dominate. But, of course, you don't see Angel Reese supporters throwing out a bunch of videos about her hating on Angel Reese, right? But at any rate, just bottom line, when it comes to Cheryl Swoops, well, I never cared. Cheryl Swoops talking is similar to how you'll have greats talk about young players that haven't played yet. That's just kind of the way it is. Dr. J still to this day won't acknowledge Michael Jordan as being the best player of all time. Like many people do that, but Dr. J won't do that. Why? He's Doc. Doc don't have to fucking do that. People don't understand that. Some people get on him about that. Doc is Dr. J. He was an MVP himself. He was a great player. So he might see the game different from you. To him, Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, Connie Hawkins, these are his guys. Who's the other one? Man, forgive me for forgetting the old Laker. Elgin Baylor. These are guys he watched and grew up with and tried to play with. So those are the icons to him. Jordan came after him. Actually, Doc believes that he gave birth to Jordan, honestly. And a lot of that is true. Dr. J, not to go on, one day I'm going to do a video about him, but Doc honestly gave birth to so many players in that era. Clyde Drexler, Dominique Wilkins, Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan, right? So that's the way he sees it, okay? Cheryl Swoops, if you don't know, bro, she feels like she gave birth to a lot of what's happening in the WNBA. You're talking about a 4-time league MVP, 2-time defensive player of the year, multiple-time champion. I think she had at least 3 rings, right? If the truth is, if Caitlin Clark accomplishes half of what Cheryl Swoops accomplished, she's going to make the Hall of Fame. She would have lived the hype. If she could do half of what Cheryl Swoops did, she would have been considered an achiever, not an underachiever. You get what I'm saying? So I don't go into I don't have it in me to go in on Cheryl Swoops. I have too much respect for people like that.
big lies in her statements about Caitlin Clark.
But if you want to see it as hate, whatever. That's your choice.
First is how many years she played college basketball, implying that she played 5 years because of COVID. In reality, she's played 4, just like Kelsey Plum, and she even broke the record in less games. The second lie is how many shots a game Caitlin Clark takes, saying she takes 40 shots a game. Over the course of her career, Clark has only shot 19 shots a game, which is less than half of what Swoops said. And finally, Swoops said...
Hey, again, it was hyperbole. Nobody takes 40 shots. It just means a lot, I think,
that Caitlin Clark is 25 years old, when in reality, she's only 22. Cheryl would then make a response after being called out for lying.
I'm going to say this, and then I want to be done with this whole conversation. So for people to come at me and say that I made those comments because I'm a racist, first of all, black people can't be racist, but that's the farthest thing from my mind. I grew up in a very small West Texas town, predominantly white. My best childhood friend is white. So it's important for me that I speak up for people that look like me. It's Black History Month. So, our ancestors fought and died for us to have opportunities that we have today. I have Like, no issues with Caitlyn. Her breaking the record, I think, obviously is a tremendous accomplishment. Although, we could get into that discussion also, because there's a big debate on Lynette Woodard having the actual record.
I'm not really sure what any of that had to do with her lying, and I like how she still insists that Caitlin Clark shouldn't have the record she legitimately broke. I know she hasn't played in the WNBA, but our last hater is Jemele Hill.
Oh, Jemele Hill, come on. This is the hate he's talking about. This is so but anyway, so let's about Cheryl Swoops lastly. Cheryl Swoops is she's like an old head black woman. That's your aunt, man. Like for me, that's like my aunt at a barbecue, and we sitting around talking, and she telling stories about back in the day. Like, I'm serious. Like, if you want to take that all serious to heart and all of that, man, that's you. But come on, man, you know what that is. That's just tongue in cheek. She's sitting around with Gilbert. And they just, especially on that show, a lot of nonsense is said. We could look at what Gilbert says about players. So but if you want to take it that serious because it's Caitlin Clark, be you. Be fine. Now, Jemele Hill is this is an example. She never even played basketball. She's just a speaker, a commentator. Like, who cares if Jemele Hill hates on Caitlin Clark? She probably does, but who cares? I'm still searching for the actual current day players who are promoting all of this hate that they should be, because Barkley's whole criticism was, they making sure y'all asses is on charter flights and y'all in good hotels and all that. You need to be thanking this girl. He's sitting there doing all that. Well, that doesn't apply to Cheryl Swoops. That doesn't apply to Jemele Hill. Show and a reporter that he showed in the beginning. No, show me the actual players who are the ones that would be the beneficiary of all this stuff Caitlin Clark is supposedly doing, that are hating on her. That's what I'm looking for, Jemele Hill.
During an interview, Jemele Hill made multiple claims against Clark, saying that the women's basketball audience would be growing with or without Clark, also mentioning that Clark is only getting so much attention because she's white.
That the criticism is often very one-sided. Caitlin Clark talks her shit. Caitlin Clark is demonstrative. Caitlin Clark, people aren't bothered by that. People aren't bothered by it because they're caught up in the narrative of, oh, here's this, wonderful, kind soul from the great state of Iowa representing middle America. So they put all these what happens in these sports race wars is everybody projects their own shit on the people coming.
All of this hate going towards Caitlin Clark from the WNBA.
Actually, it was crazy. I didn't even hear any hate there. He didn't say anything about she's not good or her game, or I don't know. That's crazy. But Jemele Hill, the thing with Jemele Hill, she's very liberal, and I don't agree with. I agree with some stuff she says, but a lot of stuff she says I don't agree with. It's just a little too liberal for me.
It doesn't make any sense. WNBA players and the media have been complaining about lack of pay.
Look at that. Now you're going to put them up there, but you have no statements from any of them saying anything. Why you do that, dude? Why you do that? Now, if you'd had statements from these three women, then I could understand. He's saying they complain about lack of pay and all of that. Oh, God. Actually, the truth is, when it comes to the top WNBA players, they're doing fine financially because most of them get endorsements from companies outside of basketball, so they're living relatively fine. It's the ones who that have to go play overseas because they're not making a lot of money, like either the middling players or the bottom of the barrel players, like Brittany Griner, who and not marketable as well. They don't have a marketable image. These are the ones that they're trying to complain on behalf of, that they should get a better base salary so that way they don't have to go overseas. It isn't like all of them are just, begging and that sort of thing. I think that's important to make that distinction.
A small audience forever now. So why would you hate on the biggest prospect of all time? She has the potential to completely change the WNBA. They could make millions from this, but instead, they allow their jealousy to get in the way and complain about the biggest prospect the WNBA has ever seen. It doesn't matter what her skin color is. All that matters is how good she is at basketball and how entertaining she is for the fans. That right there is enough to change the league.
All right, well, people, here's Exhibit A. This is the first one I've seen of anyone who attempted to try to demonstrate and show all this hate And I don't know. What's your opinion? Did he do a good job of demonstrating it, or is it just more propaganda BS or whatever? For me, it didn't do the job because I'm looking for current players who would be the beneficiary of what Caitlin Clark is supposedly bringing in, hating on her, and spiting themselves. Cheryl Swoops doesn't play. Jamel Hill never played. And that reporter in the beginning, let basketball be black again or whatever. She's just a reporter that's looking for a raise. Like a lot of these people can't see the forest from the trees, and I understand. But just tell me what y'all think, man. Peace out.